Delta variant.
I may stay up for a minute. I just can't imagine it. When we lived in Bakersfield, we got our water from Kern River. Pretty far up north, from the north. But I'm not sure that's happening anymore. Our water was cheaper. Let's see. Cheaper in California than it is here in Fond du Lac. No, it's cheap. I don't know what they're doing. It's Kern County is like the largest food producer, vegetables and fruit in the country, is my understanding. That's where Bakersfield is. So they need water for crops, water for homes. I'm gonna look up the Kern River, because I don't think that's a source of water in Southern California anymore. But I'm not sure.
67% of adults have received at least one dose of the vaccine, a number the Biden administration hopes to boost through door-to-door vaccinations. The strategy quickly called out by Republican lawmakers.
Think about what those mechanisms can be used for. They can go door-to-door, take your guns. They can go door-to-door, take your Biden.
South Carolina's governor tweeting, enticing, coercing, intimidating, mandating, or pressuring anyone to take the vaccine is a bad policy. The White House pushing back.
The failure to provide accurate public health information, including the efficacy of vaccines and the accessibility of them to people across the country, including South Carolina, is literally killing people. So maybe they should consider that.
An ongoing tug of war as the nation tries to move past the pandemic.
Kathy, biggest question for parents. When do we expect vaccines for children under 12?
Well, Kate, drug makers Pfizer and Moderna are testing their vaccines on those under 12 right now. We should get the result at some time this fall, followed by submissions to the FDA for emergency use authorization. Kate?
Oh, Kathy, thank you. To Haiti now, where officials are desperate for U.S. military assistance following the assassination of the country's president. The nation now in turmoil. Raf Sanchez reports.
As crowds gather outside the U.S. Embassy, pleading for safe passage to America, Haiti's government with a startling request of its own, asking for U.S. troops to defend key sites from further attacks.
We are asking for the occupation of the country. We are asking for small troops to persist and help us.
But a Biden administration official says no plans to deploy American forces to Haiti.
This is July 8th, 2021. Just 3 months ago, only 5% of the state was under exceptional drought. All of California is in some level of drought after a dry winter and spring. 1 year ago, 58% of California was in drought. This morning it's 85%.
Including Americans James Salaches and Joseph Vincent. 15 Colombians, many of them ex-soldiers, also arrested as part of the plot. 3 more killed by security forces.
Oh, Southern California is not yet included in the state's drought emergency proclamation.
Combing the streets of Port-au-Prince in search of assassins. And many questions still unanswered. How
Oh, Kern County is north of Los Angeles. Guess I didn't realize that.
In Virginia today, a turning point nearly 4 years after that deadly clash over Civil War monuments and race in Charlottesville. The Confederate statues were finally taken down. Monica Alba has more.
Cheers today as bronze statues of Confederate generals Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson were pulled from public parks in Charlottesville.
That these symbols are bad for the community. And today,
We remove that hate. Taken down a century after being built, and nearly 4 years after white supremacist and neo-Nazi groups held a Unite the Right rally, protesting calls to remove the monuments of the 19th century military leaders. The violence turned deadly when a civil rights activist was killed in the clashes that followed, but no visible organized protests today.
One small step closer to the goal of helping Charlottesville, Virginia, and America grapple with its sin of being willing to destroy black people for economic gains.
Hours later, another controversial symbol gone, the Lewis, Clark, and Sacagawea Monument. The city council first voted to get rid of the one honoring Lee in February of 2017, after then ninth grader Ziana Bryant started a petition for its removal.
I think it's definitely overdue, but I'm happy that it happened.
Left behind, now empty pedestals, holding a new chapter of history.
And Monica joins us from the White House now, where the president reacted late today to this, right?
The White House tonight says President Biden believes those monuments belong in museums, not public places, and he welcomes their removal. Kate?
Monica, thank you. When we come back, a new video of Richard Branson's final preparations before his launch into space, now just hours away. Also, stores targeted by shoplifters and how that's impacting the way you shop. We are just hours away from the beginning of a new space race. Billionaire Richard Branson set to blast off tomorrow in a commercial spaceship that he hopes will soon be carrying.
I'm not seeing a Kern River level drop, though it should.
Passengers.
But a lot of lakes
Amazon
are evaporating in California.
Tom Costello reports from New Mexico near the site of tomorrow's launch.
Countdown in the New Mexico desert, the Virgin Galactic spaceship Unity, now mounted to its mothership, primed, ready, and rolled out.
Nice and smoothly to zero G. It feels wonderful.
Virgin Galactic pilots giving their final briefings.
To me, it's all about the game, and it's absolutely amazing. It's spectacular.
As Richard Branson and 3 fellow employees prepare to strap in for the journey of a lifetime.
Ridiculously exciting.
That moment when Unity drops from the mothership.
Well,
Then the rockets to more than 50
I would say God is
miles
targeting
per hour.
California.
NASA calls the edge of space.
I know we lived there for about a year and 3 months.
We'll see you there to wish you the best. While the Jeff Bezos Blue Origin team tweeted that Branson and his passengers aren't going as high as Bezos, so might not be considered true civilian astronauts.
It's definitely a pinch moment.
Bursting with pride, Branson gave us an exclusive tour this week. He started Virgin Galactic in 2004, pouring billions into the program and overcoming the tragic death of a test pilot. Now his vision is becoming reality. Are you ready for Sunday?
I'm as ready as I will ever be. I've had 17 years waiting for this.
Of weightlessness. The hope that the battle of the space billionaires will open the door to anyone else who can afford the $250,000 ticket. Launch is set for 7 a.m. Mountain Time on Sunday, and then paying passengers in 2022. I'm Tom Costello, NBC News and Spaceport America.
Thank you, Tom. And just as we were coming on the air, this just in, Jeff Bezos wishing Branson best of luck over Instagram. We will have live coverage of this launch tomorrow morning. You better believe it, 9:45 Eastern on most NBC stations. Still ahead, the brazen shoplifting heist caught on camera, what it means for the everyday products you buy, and the Surfside, Florida reunion, what's being called a small miracle amidst all the tragedy. We have an update on the Surfside, Florida condo collapse. Search teams have recovered more victims from the rubble. The death toll now at least 86 people. Meanwhile, a downtown Miami courthouse has been evacuated and closed amid safety concerns following an inspection on that structure. And one bit of good news today. A family that survived the collapse found out their cat was alive, discovered wandering nearby 2 weeks after the building came down. President Carter and his wife Rosalind were honored today at a special anniversary celebration. They marked 75 years of marriage this week. And today about 300 guests, including the Clintons and entertainers like Garth Brooks, gathered offered to throw them a party in their hometown of Plains, Georgia. The Carters have been married longer than any other first couple. Rosalind says she...
An article on Kern River on March 24th of this year. It's the Kern Valley Sun. There won't likely be a lot of water in the Kern River this year, said Rex Inke, co-founder of the Keepers of the Kern nonprofit. Water volume in the river is measured in acre-feet, and this year it's more like toes, Inke told the Kern Valley Sun. Quote, this year, unless we get more snow, it's going to probably be below 200,000 acre-feet, Inke said, who is also the author of Hooked on Fishing in the Kern Valley Sun. Rafting companies suffer during low water years. This is going to be a low water year, unquote. I don't know overall what Satanists concerned about California would be. I mean, LA and Hollywood and all that are in California. And Silicon Valley. I'm grateful about living in a cooler climate. I don't know if we're in drought or not. Let's see.
Trying hard to get a better signal? Enjoy clear cell phone talking with signalbooster.com. The reason why the fire danger is elevated again in the state is because of how dry our weather has been over the last few months. Now it's reaching extreme territory for some spots. Fox 11 meteorologist Bill Castro has the story. According to the most recent United States Drought Monitor update on Thursday, parts of Wisconsin are now considered to be in an extreme drought in the southeastern corner of the state. Farmers are struggling there, according to the summary of index, and it's worsening of a trend that we've seen lately. Just last week, that part of the
And very southern, below south of Milwaukee, there's an extreme drought, and it overlaps into Chicago. It's mostly Chicago. I just got some packages. So let me go check. Cert books now. That was gonna be my dry mouth spray. First time I've been over the threshold in, I don't know, maybe since I came back from Dr. Zeus. Oh my god. Oh shit. Connecticut Case is a big fat hardback. It was this slender little paperback when I got it at Goodwill here in town years and years ago. Oh, I got my Pippi books. Yeah, this is the Ted Kennedy book I want to look at. Oh, this author also wrote a book about Katie Couric. I'm looking for the good stuff. Secrets.
There is a tree that possesses unparalleled healing power. And you need someone to help you find it.
I don't think the status of the Kennedy family is going to change this time. But I don't know. I trust Kennedy a lot more than I would trust Patrick Leahy. I mean, even in real life. Wow. Well, it's a little bit. I mean, you should be able to be drunk. If you're dying and you've got brain cancer, what's wrong with being drunk all the time? Jesus. Vicky may not have been such a sweetheart. What I really want to know is, who was Ted's longest term romantic relationship ever that he ended to marry Vicky. I'm gonna have to read this whole book. But Vicky may not be such a nice guy. Pip goes to school. Pip goes on. Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm just gonna read Pippi a little. Oh, yeah. These are for older children, not... I don't know what ages I said. Well, I was probably 9 and 10 when I wrote them. Way out at the end of a tiny little town was an old overgrown garden, and in the garden was an old house, and in the house lived Pippi Longstocking. She was 9 years old, and she lived there all alone. She had no mother and no father, and that was, of course, very nice, because there was no one to tell her to go to bed just when she was having the most fun, and no one who could make her take cod liver oil when she was much preferred caramel candy. Once upon a time, Pippi had a father of whom she was extremely fond. He was the sea captain who sailed the great ocean, and Pippi had sailed with him in his ship until one day her father was blown overboard in a storm and disappeared. Of course, Tommy and Annika went to school. Each morning at 8 o'clock they trotted off, hand in hand, swinging their school bags. Chapter 2. At that time, Pippi was usually grooming her horse or dressing Mr. Nilsson in his little suit, or else she was taking her morning exercises, which meant turning 43 somersaults in a row. Tommy and Annika always looked longingly toward Villa Villacula as they started off to school. They would much rather have gone to play with Pippi. If only Pippi had been going to school too, that would have been something else. The more they thought about it, the worse they felt to think that Pippi did not go to school, and at last they determined to try to persuade her to begin. "You can't imagine what a nice teacher we have," said Tommy artfully to Pippi one afternoon. "If you only knew what fun it is in school," Annika added. "I'd die if I couldn't go to school." Pippi was bathing her feet in a tub. "You don't have to stay so very long," continued Tommy. "Just until 2 o'clock. Yes, and besides, we get Christmas vacation and Easter vacation and summer vacation," said Annika. Pippi bit her big toe thoughtfully, but still said nothing. Suddenly she poured all the water out on the kitchen floor so that Mr. Nilsson, who sat near her playing with a mirror, got his pants absolutely soaked. "It's not fair," said Pippi sternly without paying any attention to Mr. Nilsson's puzzled air about his wet pants. "It's absolutely unfair. I don't intend to stand it." "What's the matter now?" said Tommy. Hold on. Okay. "In 4 months it will be Christmas, and then you'll have Christmas vacation. But what'll I get?" Pippi's voice sounded sad. "No Christmas vacation, not even the tiniest bit of Christmas vacation," she complained. "Something will have to be done about that. Tomorrow morning I'll begin school." Tommy and Annika clapped their hands. "Hurrah! We'll wait for you outside our gate at 8 o'clock. "Oh, no," said Pippi. "I can't begin as early as that. And besides, I'm going to ride to school." And ride she did. Exactly at 10 o'clock the next day she lifted her horse off the porch, and a little later all the people in town ran to their windows to see what horse it was that was running away. Pippi galloped wildly into the schoolyard, jumped off the horse, tied him to a tree, and burst into the schoolroom with such a noise and a clatter that Tommy and Annika and all their classmates jumped in their seats. "Hi there," cried Pippi, waving her big hat. Tommy and Annika had told the teacher that a new girl named Pippi Longstocking was coming, and as she was a very pleasant teacher, she had decided to do all she could to make Pippi happy in school. Okay. Pippi threw herself down on a vacant bench. The teacher said in a very friendly voice, "Welcome to our school, little Pippi. I hope that you will enjoy yourself here and learn a great deal." "Yes, and I hope I'll get some Christmas vacation," said Pippi. "That's the reason I've come." "If you would first tell me your whole name," said the teacher, "then I'll register you in school." "My name is Pippolita Delicatessa Windows Shade Macrolman Ephraim's daughter Longstocking, daughter of Captain Ephraim Longstocking. Pippi is really only a nickname because Papa thought that Pippilata was too long to say." "Indeed," said the teacher. "Well, then we shall call you Pippi too. But now, suppose we test you a little and see what you know. Let us begin with arithmetic, Pippi. Can you tell me what 7 plus 5 is?" Pippi, astonished and dismayed, looked at her hand and said, "Well, if you don't know that yourself, you needn't think I'm going to tell you." All the children stared in horror at Pippi, and the teacher explained no one couldn't answer that way in school. And the children stared in horror at Pippi, and the teacher explained that one couldn't answer that way in school. "I beg your pardon," said Pippi contritely. "I didn't know that. I won't do it again." "No, let us hope not," said the teacher. "And now I will tell you that 7 plus 5 is 12. "See that?" said Pippi. "You knew it yourself. Why are you asking then?" The teacher decided to act as if nothing unusual were happening, and went on with her examination. "Well now, Pippi, how much do you think 8 plus 4 is?" "Oh, about 67, hazarded Pippi. "Of course not," said the teacher. 8 plus 4 is 12. "Well, now, really," said Pippi, "that is carrying things too far. You just said that 7 plus 5 is 12. There should be some rhyme and reason to things even in school. Furthermore, if you are so childishly interested in that foolishness, why don't you sit down in a corner by yourself and do arithmetic and leave us alone so we can play tag?" The teacher decided there was no point in trying to teach Pippi any more arithmetic. "Can Tommy answer this one?" she asked. "If Lisa had 7 apples and Axel had 9 apples, how many apples do they have together?" "Yes, you tell, Tommy," Pippi interrupted. "And tell me, too. If Lisa gets a stomachache and Axel gets more stomachache, whose fault is it, and where did they get hold of the apples in the first place?" The teacher tried to pretend that she hadn't heard and turned to Annika. "Now, Annika, here's a problem for you. Gustav was with his schoolmates on a picnic. He had a quarter when he started out and 7 cents when he got home. How much did he spend?" "Yes, indeed," said Pippi. "I also want to know why he was so extravagant, and if it was pop he bought, and if he washed his ears properly before he left home." I don't appreciate the illustrations as much as I did with the Pippis I used to read. But boy, Those would be collectibles. Oh God, that's cute. Funnier, also funny things happen in between, and then the teacher sent the children out to play so she could talk to Pippi alone. When the teacher and Pippi were alone, Pippi got up and walked to the desk. Do you know what she said? It was awfully fun to come to school to find out what it was like, but I don't think I care about going to school anymore. Christmas vacation or no Christmas vacation. There's altogether too many apples and iguanas and snakes and things like that. It makes me dizzy in the head. I hope that you, teacher, won't be sorry. It was a pretty long duration for being under attack the whole time. Oh, okay, this is the first one. I got Shadow Play. It was Philip H. Oh no, this is revised and updated. Philip H. Melanson wrote a book on the assassination of RFK, and I went to the Stanton Library at the time. We lived in Stanton. I went to the Stanton Library, and they had some new releases on the counter. It was a big counter around where you check out books and stuff, and you just walk around. But anyway, my mind was so blown by John, I didn't even think of Robert. Plus, I was only 9 years old, when Robert got killed. But I checked it out because it was on the new release. It was prominent as a new release, and wow, I mean, really basic things that people will remember forever. Sirhan Sirhan shot 5 shots from the front. The shot that killed Kennedy is from the back. And one conclusion I read, or possible conclusion, I'm not sure if it was in here or not. I'm not sure the author editorialized too much. But was, it was the security guard, behind Robert F. Kennedy. Behind him, and that shot RFK. So, yeah. Oh. For real? Just 5 days after the Schrade-Lowenstein press conference, a secret 76-page response to Lowenstein's inquiry was submitted to Assistant Chief of Police Daryl F. Gates. The cover sheet of the memo read, Okay, I'll have to figure this out later. Gates, I don't even remember him being a detective at the time in Philip H. Melanson original book. But here, if the time, I may be off because I'm only taking it out of context, that they have him here as the Assistant Chief of Police at the time. I don't remember anything like that, right? He was a soldier, at the time. This could be post. Because Daryl Gates did end up becoming Chief of Police. And he's, in my opinion, a very evil man. Whoa. This is it. This is the one. The ceiling tiles. I'm not going to organize this well, so I'll just read. Oh, Daryl Gates was Chief of Police in 75. Okay, so he was probably just something between a patrol officer and a detective. The issue had been raised by Councilman Zev Yaroslavsky, who had been disturbed by rumors that the door frames and the ceiling tiles were taken from the Ambassador Hotel were now either missing or destroyed. Quote, "One would have thought," said Yaroslavsky to Gates before the meeting, quote, "that after all the problems with the John F. Kennedy assassination, the police department would be a little more sensitive to the preservation of evidence," unquote. When questioned about the missing ceiling panels at the hearing, Gates replied, quote, "They have absolutely no value whatsoever. All of the testing, the real important testing, as far as trajectory and line of fire and the number of bullets, that was done prior to the removal from the pantry. We made those tests, and they showed absolutely nothing. They proved absolutely nothing. They did nothing so far as supporting the investigation or supporting the guilt or innocence of anyone," unquote. Gates went on to say that x-rays of the ceiling panels have been made, but the records of the x-rays... Let me see when that... Okay, the date, the year is important. Yeah, this is questioning before the Los Angeles City Council to explain the alleged disappearance of evidence from the Robert Kennedy case file. So this is 75. This is Gates talking in this interview, council meeting. Gates went on to say that x-rays of the ceiling panels have been made, but that, quote, "the records of the x-rays and the x-rays themselves are not in existence," unquote. In addition, Gates asserted that spectrographic analysis was also probably done by LAPD criminalist Dwayne Wolfer. Quote, "He, Wolfer, believes he did make a spectrographic analysis. Ordinarily, he would not have conducted a spectrographic analysis, but because we were being so thorough, I think he did," unquote. They didn't even think to check the door frames and the ceiling tiles in the room where RFK was shot. They went and removed these things after these issues were reported in the paper. That there were witnesses who saw bullets in door frames, bullet holes in door frames and ceiling tiles. It's a pretty crowded room. Oh, it was a hallway, big old hallway. Gates told the councilman that the missing door frames and the ceiling tiles were destroyed by the LAPD on June 27, 1969. If true, the destruction occurred only 1 month after the Los Angeles Free Press article by Lillian Castellano and Floyd Nelson citing evidence of extra bullets in the door frames, and just 3 weeks after District Attorney Evel Younger publicly promised full release of police files. A week after Gates' revelations, Allard Lowenstein pointed out some contradictions in the police position regarding the missing items. So it goes on. Oh no, I've got to go on. Okay, let me take a cigarette break. Could you make it okay so can I have a cigarette? Yeah. Well, this is the updated version of the one I read in '92, and this was published. (2018). 2018. This is updated in 2018. Shadow Play by William Klaber, Klaber, and Philip Melanson, Melanson. When in '92, when I read his first book about RFK, he was a political science professor, but all of a sudden I don't remember where. Anyway, the book was this. It's like I don't know how to say it. I mean, it's, well, I'm just not gonna insult anybody. Like high treason, it changes your life. And it's right there. It's facts right there. You know, and that woman in the polka dot dress and all that stuff, I mean, I didn't see much to it. Sirhan programmed, they found in his home, Robert Kennedy must die, Robert Kennedy must die, Robert Kennedy must die. You know, programming is deep in the subconscious, and I don't know. It was just too blunt, you know, too blunt. But 5 shots from the front, Kennedy's lethal wound, because there were more than 5 shots. That's the point of the ceiling tiles. Was in the back of his neck, and he lived a little bit. I think he may have lived overnight, but I'm not sure. Anyway. So it figures, you know, the security guard. His security guard, in a way, like it was a secret service for Jack. Yeah. Oh, this is the original Cinderella that I saw when I was a little girl. With Leslie Ann Warren is Cinderella.
He's a fine fat rat with whiskers and his brother. They do very nicely for the
And Celeste Holm is the queen, I think, not the fairy godmother.
So impossible. Impossible. For a plain yellow pumpkin to become a golden carriage. Impossible. For a plain country pumpkin and a prince to join in marriage. And for white mice.
I really liked this show when I was a little girl. And it's funny, I always remember Leslie Ann Warren, I think it's on this side, has a tooth missing. I have one on this side. And it's noticeable when she smiles, and I just noticed it when I was a little girl. But throughout the years in her career, she's never filled the gap. It's just a funny thing. Yeah. It's probably more than it appears. Oh yeah, they don't like children, so they don't like adults who love the things they knew from childhood. Pippi may just be a bygone word. I don't know how current the Pippi series might be, but they may be a lot more politically correct now or something. Should. I'll look it up. I'm gonna upload this firm.